Today we're going to be working on this short undone crop. Weight on the sides, going vertical with our graduation, keeping it tighter towards the bottom and the back and the sides, and then keeping a little bit of weight, probably more weight than you're used to on that round of the fringe, and then keeping that real shattered feel around. And then you can do a little bit heavier weight lines on the sides if you want. You can really collapse that in there if you want. I like it the weight to kind of round with the side a little bit. It's just a slightly more contemporary feel. I hope you like this haircut. Follow along. We're just going to be establishing this as tight as we can going down. So I want to leave the weight on the parietal ridge, and then I just want to get this as close as I can. We're going to come back in and touch it up with the scissor most of the time, leaving that weight out as much as we can on the parietal ridge, and then just walking this in visually as tight as we can with the razor. That's pretty simple. You see that weight I'm trying to leave? And then come in, holding that, and then just coming in as tight as possible. The mannequins don't always look perfectly pleasant on the exterior because the hair is sewn in and coming out of the head. So on a real person, this would be pretty tight. It would lay pretty flat. You can see how I visually just kind of cut that line. I am following the guide, really. I'm going from entrance point to exit point. That's my guide. They're right on top of each other, not side by side. That's what people don't understand about what I'm trying to do a lot of times. And it just makes that whole thing easier. It's far easier to just watch shape as you put it in than to try to make the link make sense with the previous sections that were in a completely different area. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Keeping that weight on the side and then just going as tight as we want. We're just going to walk that from the back forward. So we see our weight. And then just go as tight, as quick as possible right there. Leaving that heaviness on the ridge. You never know what weight you're going to need, so we're going to leave that on that ridge as much as possible and then get tight as quickly as possible. Now we're going to get a buildup of weight there, and that's what we want to get. Just repeating that process on those. Staying vertical, seeing that weight from previous haircuts. Now I can just soften that down if I want to. I'm going to do it one way or the other, but I can just skip out of that and just knock that out. I know that I'm using that as my guide and just going as tight as I want right over that ear. Staying vertical. I say staying vertical because I don't want to increase weight towards that length like I did in previous haircuts. I want to get that weight off. So knocking the top off just to make sure I don't cut it, and then going real tight over that ear. And then that last one, hold out so you can see it, building that weight up, going as tight as I can with my razor around that ear. And if I want, I have the option to go in and scissor over comb that. All right, so now I'm just going to establish that bang. Right? I want to be right kind of messy eyebrowish length with this. So my first pass, lots of texture this time. Not too crazy on a real guess because you don't want to cut some hole in their bang. So go slow until you're confident. Just edging off right at that bang. Edging off. And then a length pass. And then just visually touch it up. Don't be too perfect. That's perfection for some reason in hair cutting is not pretty. So the softer, looser, it feels like they didn't do a lot of work. and that feels prettier. So coming back on the top, now we can round this. We can go in and do that right now, but I want to make sure that my connections are right first so I don't steal some weight away from the top that I want on the side. So just dropping it over that vertical graduation and then just softening. Now I'm just going to soften it off the line. I don't really need to come in and like establish like a super heavy line. We want a little bit of pieciness. We just don't want any ledges. So, or we can take a little ledge too. We just don't want a ton of ledge. So we can leave a little of that extra weight and it'll ledge out, or we can just break it all down and soften it off until you don't get any ledge at all, your druthers. But you see how nice that's building up that weight line. But not a big weight line that looks like you blunt cut it into oblivion. And then just make sure this doesn't reach. And if you want right here, you could just do like a little texture pass, right? And I'm not going into the roots too much. I'm just kind of leaving that bulky and heavy for now. And then coming in and doing it on the other side. First section off of that halo, just dropping it down to that ridge that we've created with weight and softening it off. Doing one right here. And see, notice how I turn my hands like a little diagonal back, and that's going to allow me to walk that weight line shape down. And then right here on the side. Now I'm going to invert back slightly just to protect any weight around the front, because I don't want to end up cutting something short and then going square there. That would be horrific. Last section on the top, over, softening off on that ridge. Just one pass through the back, just pulling that back on top of that ridge line, and then just softening it out right on that ridge line. Most of that hair is going to be coming forward. We don't want to do something too short here, because then you'll get that pineapple feel, which I always stay away from. And from there, we're just working on that weight coming forward. I'm going to bring this down a little bit and leave the weight more right on top of that bang section. All right, so now you can start to see that profile, and I'm gonna come up right on a central guide here, and I'm just gonna break down this back going into the front, keeping that weight right on that front ledge. Just 3 of them, one in the center and then one off to each side. Just making sure to keep as much weight as you can right on that round of the bang. All right, she's done. Let's style her out. All right, that's the finished crop. Just a soft, really cute, disconnected haircut. Definitely tighter in the bottom, a little heavier on the weight line. We left a lot of that weight in the fringe area. That gives you like a different feel than always going the same length all the way around. Just like that next step in your journey to like being able to just decipher the head and be able to just go in any direction you want.